Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. A.T. Aryaratne, distinguished guests and friends. It's both a privilege and an honor to introduce Dasun's The Dons Who Rocked My World. When I got the book into my hands, I was attracted to two things. First, the title, and then the name. Perhaps because of my profession as a teacher of literature, I thought the title was a wonderful paradox with a touch of irony. After all, it's not every day you think of university dons rocking your world. It was only when I was reading the book that I discovered who the real dons were, the musicians and their philosophy, which has inspired the curious mind of a young narrator. Then I was attracted to the name, Dasun, which stood by itself. We are culturally conditioned to believe in the patrilineal that it was interesting and refreshing that Dasun decided on an androlineal writer's persona. In Latin, the word Bildungsroman refers to a narrative which seeks to explore the moral and psychological growth of a protagonist. Dasun's narrative is not a novel, to which the term is generally referred to. Yet, as the celebrated writer Jan Martel says in his Booker Prize-winning Life of Pi, and I quote, "The telling of something always becomes a story, and looking upon this world is already something of an invention." Reading Dasun's The Dons Who Rocked My World, I read the journey he made to arrive at a theory of intelligent design. His narrative, I believe, is as much about this journey as it's about his moment of revelation. It's also inevitably a labor of love, a Bildungsroman of a kind. At times, he's an artist striving for self-expression. He says, and I quote, "I found great happiness in my realization that there is an artist in me who is yearning to express himself," unquote. At other times, he's also a man on a spiritual journey, a seeker of a natural or a divine design to the universe. The narrative involves several journeys. The literal, physical journey Dasun makes to the United States as an aspiring student and back home to Sri Lanka. But the real journey is the metaphorical one he makes in search of a higher truth. And this intellectual journey, trying to understand not only who he is, but also asserting the need to seek who we are and our place in the grand scheme of things. His search is tempered by a sense of humanity and a refreshing sense of youth. He says, we have to overcome our selfishness and take care of our fellow human beings, because it is with compassion thus developed that we find greater awareness of ourselves. For the reader, I believe this text offers many different perspectives. At times, it is a political commentary and analysis, acutely critical of the global superpower structures. At times, it is a retrospective self-analysis. And yet, at other times, it is a poignant recollection of a man whose heart is in music. And it is also an affectionate son paying a tribute to the vision of his parents. Interestingly, these different perspectives do not mutually contest each other in the narrative. In the writer's youthful universe, these identities merge and complement each other. The narrative begins with an interesting chronology of events, which records renowned musician A.R. Rahman's entry into music stardom in 1992 and chronicles events significant to Dasun's personal history. as well as the key events in recent American and Sri Lankan history up to December 2011. To me, this is also a postmodernist text. Throughout his narrative, Dasun consistently seeks to draw parallels, connections, and networks in history, in philosophy, in short, in the universe. In a typical postmodernist style, he fuses the popular with the classic, the personal with the political, the mundane with the great, and continuously sprinkles a little bit of ordinary magic to his search of a philosophy of intelligent design. For instance, the narrative proper actually begins with an interesting and compelling analysis of the popular song Hotel California by the music band Eagles. But the narrative gives the song a political analysis, locating it in a history of anti-materialism that is certainly refreshing. The text traces the philosophical and historical development of ideological movements that define the contours of modern humanity, from imperialism to the sexual revolution, from humanism to feminism. It gives at times a liberal, at times a conservative interpretation of human history. This, I believe, is the paradox of the human existence. As different voices that coexist in the human mind, and in admitting this paradox sincerely, Dasun displays his honesty as a writer. At one point, the narrator ponders the question many well-meaning Sri Lankans have dwelt on. That we are a great nation is undeniable, he says. We were, but where are we now, he asks. And he goes on to locate recent Sri Lankan history into a larger geopolitical perspective.